today I got a question from my Discord channel about this idea called the laws the law of Dharma. And I didn't know what this was because the Dharma of the Buddha specifically says there are no laws. So I'm like, okay, so when it says law of the Dharma, it must be somebody else's coined term or something I don't know about. So I googled it, and it turns out it was kind of like I think it's a book by Deepak Chopra, and I'm not completely sure, but basically the summarized version that the person asked is, it's one of the spiritual laws of success. Everyone has a talent that they can express better than anyone in the world, and there are three components to it and such. But okay, so it's a nice thing. It's a nice concept to have. So for example, if you find that your life is kind of pointless right now, you don't really know what you're good at, why you should be doing these things, you feel kind of a lack of purpose and things like that, this kind of an idea is good to introduce to the mind, right? There has to be something that I'm better than at compared to anybody else. And when you come to believe this, it gives you an opportunity to look for it, right? Because it exists somewhere, and it's just me not having discovered it yet. And so it can be a powerful tool. It can be a good resource for the mind. However, when it comes to the Dharma of the Buddha, basically the core knowledge of the awakening that Buddha obtained at his enlightenment, in terms of that grand truth, this fails for a few reasons. So number one, the idea of better, right, is a relative term. So I can't really say I can do this better than anybody else, because I could say it, but it can't make it the truth, because there is no objective measure of what better is, right? So pitchers, we might think having like good baseball pitching stats is the objective criteria for what a good pitcher is. But we have style, and some people throw underhand, and some people like have a really nice way of kind of like playing mind games, have really good chemistry with the catcher and things like that. So those stylistic influences make someone like pretty good too, right? Like outside of just the records. Same with like boxing, or same with other like sports, and writers too, right? Nobel Prize winners, we think they must be the best writers, but art is ultimately very subjective to the person's experience, right? So just like that, because there is no universal standard of better that stands the test of time, and is universal, that it can't really be the Dharma that the Buddha discovered. Secondly, so I can be good at something for now, but the thing is, people change over time, right? So in terms of the time constraint, in terms of the everlasting truth criteria, it also fails to be the Dharma. Because okay, you guys know me as the life coach on this YouTube channel, but just 5 years ago I had none of this knowledge. I had none of this kind of a awareness around any of these topics, right? So right now I'm good at this, but I wasn't always like this, right? So because of that, it doesn't stand the criteria of like timelessness. And so like anything, these ideas and concepts, they must serve you. And if those concepts, and this applies to not just this like idea of the law of the Dharma, but for anything, if an idea doesn't help you, it's okay to abandon that idea. So for example, like if you're struggling with a pornography addiction, right? And there's like this idea of no fap, or like no nut November. These are things that are commonly discussed on the internet. These are meant to be like possibly good changes for you, right? It's a good opportunity to get started with a new habit, because a lot of people are also joining in. So it's supposed to be this good thing. But if this introduces stress, right, then it's not really doing its job, right? Because it's fine to live without those principles. It's fine to live without those ideas, because people have lived fine lives without any of those ideas, but the addition of any idea, the addition of any concept is supposed to be a value add. But if it's not, why have it? Especially if it's optional. And but sometimes, many times actually, we don't really know what's good for us, and we don't really know what's bad for us, right? So it's important to periodically also review the life that we are living. And so am I really saying a bunch of stuff that just kind of contradict each other? Well, to summarize, right? It's important to, regardless of where you are in life, have some moments of reflection, have some time with yourself. It can be like a journaling practice or like a meditation to review how your life is going. What are the key primary things that are making you suffer? And identifying those and seeing if those things can just be removed from your life because it's a voluntary participation. So for example, you're on this diet, but maybe you don't need to be on that particular diet. Then it's something you can abandon. Or maybe the diet itself is bringing you a lot of suffering. But the thing is, you've got a health concern and your doctor is recommending that you follow this diet. In that case, what's more important? Your ability to eat whatever you want or your health. You just make that decision. So it's a simple question that you keep repeating to yourself. What's really good for me? What's actually good for me, right? And depending on what that answer is, you formulate the path of your life accordingly. And I uncovered a lot of topics here. So if anything doesn't make sense or if you want me to elaborate on something more, please let me know in the comments. All right.